There is no friend as loyal as book. Good morning, one and all present here. Today we are having a storyteller with us. Not a normal storyteller, he is a data storyteller. So let's hear from it that what is a data storyteller and what they do, right? And for taking his interview, we are also having a good personality, a soft skills trainer, and a good mentor, and a renowned public speaker with us. She is none other than distinguished Toastmaster Richa. So this virtual stage is over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shubham. Most welcome to the champion of the day, who is renowned in the whole world for being a data storyteller and for doing so many other things. So good to have a versatile personality on our show. Most welcome.
Thank you, Richa. Thank you, Subham. Thank you, Richa,
First
for
of
the
all, you
invite.
need to tell us what exactly is data storyteller, because we just understand storyteller. So you need to explain it to us.
Yeah, sure, Richa. So I'll start it from school level. So what happens in schooling is that English and maths, they are taught in two different classes. So never we had a chance to talk to the in the math class with an English some kind of context, or in English class also maths was not taught. Now, what happens when the child comes from school to college, then college to corporate? The moment he steps into corporate world, then the corporate culture or leadership team or everybody, they want to see a story coming out of the data. Everybody, because everybody's sitting in heaps of tons of data right now. Data is being generated every second, every moment, everywhere. Gigabytes, petabytes. So earlier days we had only kilobytes, talking about kilobytes of data. Today nobody talks below petabytes of data. So anywhere you go, be it unstructured or structured data. So I mean, now people expect that, okay, we want to see something coming out of this data. So I mean, there, that is where storytelling comes into picture. So it is just two things, two divisions actually. So once you have the data, first of all you find a story, which is called data exploration, and then you tell the story, which is the data explanation part. So both the things go hand in hand.
Wow, I like the way you weave the whole thing so that it is understandable to across the globe, especially to the freshers who are about to step up in the corporate sector. So let us know something about what actually came in your mind when you developed these tools, or you thought of using tools to assess soft skills.
So soft skills, again, coming on to soft skills, we have data over there as well.
Yes,
But usually
yes.
what we saw is that all these platforms, so wherever you go to any of the online platforms or offline platforms, even, I mean, going to some sessions or something. So end of the day, the assessment stops at multiple choice or true false type of questions.
Okay.
Now, very few places we have seen that the trainer or the coach will actually assess them based on the body language or based on some role play or something like this. So, and even today, if you talk about online, so because right now we are talking about lockdowns and other things as well, I mean, people are stranded, but people need to enhance their, I mean, communication and body language, those skills, right? That is
That's
a
right.
continual process. So what
Yes.
we thought is that all these online sessions, wherever you go, they end up with a multiple choice question. And we thought that our life is not based on and should not be based on multiple choice questions, right? It is much more than that. We expect more,
Yes.
right? That is
Yes.
where the concept of using video analytics and using sentiment analytics, artificial intelligence, deep learning, neural networks, we combine all these things. We developed our own proprietary algorithm to take unstructured data and then do this assessment. It's a 360-degree
Wow.
assessment.
Great. We have another explorer waiting in the queue to have a conversation with you. So over to Shubham now.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Shubham.
Hello, sir. Sir, I want to ask that as a data storyteller, you were telling that it is like represent way of representing data, right? So I want to ask you that does our teachers like who are teaching us in the college in a mundane way, so they should also like take another step to explain students better?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, data storytelling or working with data is not confined to only corporate world. So it can be for any kind of, I mean, environment. If you talk about schools, colleges, or even other sections as well, sectors as well. So data is being, as I told, data is being generated everywhere. So even in schools and colleges also, whatever data we have, either we have data from students or we have data from even lectures also. So we know that we can also record the lectures and then do video analytics or do some kind of indexing on top of that. So I'll give you one example. Let's say we have tried one solution for school, which talks about, again, data storytelling. So we had cameras put it on the teacher. Let's say the teacher is giving these lectures, and this is recorded and it is indexed. So what happens is that, let's say, usually what happens, the child goes back home and then wants to listen to the teacher, not going to the Google, let's say, listen to the teacher. So in that case, that indexing happens, and then the child can go back to the teacher's lecture only, and then I mean, do their homework or classwork. And if they've missed, let's say 1 or 2 days they miss, so they can always go back and then see that. So, and in terms of colleges, especially, let's say MBA colleges, engineering colleges, when people are there in their third sem, fourth sem, and then about to move out of the college. So this skill is very important. So because today, let me tell you, wherever you step in, whether it's in corporate or non-corporate, SME, MSME, wherever you go, everybody is having heaps of data, and they want to find out something out of some data correlation, some anomalies finding, trend analysis. These are the basic things that people are looking forward for today out of their data. Yeah.
Sir, but don't you think that there is very less awareness, and like I have heard it for the first time, data storytelling, right? And in India it's like very less aware, so people are like, the teachers in colleges are still not aware of that, and the education is little bit mundane, not that interesting. So like what can be done to make it interesting, and like how to pursue data storytelling?
So what we can do is, like, I mean, whatever data we have with us, I mean, it need not be some high scale data or big data sort of thing. So any kind of data that we have, first of all, we try to put that data into one place and then try to cleanse the data and try to, I mean, do some very basic anomaly testing and trend testing out of that particular data. So I'm just giving you an example. Let's say, being in colleges and schools, you have anyway access to all government data. So you can take some data from, let's say, some education sector data or some government related data, and then try to find out. I mean, let's say, even if you talk about this COVID-19 situation right now, so which states are responding more, which states are responding less, where it is spreading in a very huge way. So you can find out some pattern out of it. I mean, it is just like finding some pattern. So what I say is, like, whenever you give me a picture which is of more chaotic, let's say some place, so I say that you see chaos in that, but I see a pattern in that. People, even if you talk about the roads of India, I mean, people trying to negotiate between cars, trying to negotiate, cycles trying to negotiate. But if you come to places like in UAE or US, you see everywhere it is streamlined, right? People are moving, following traffic signals and everything. Everything is like unidirectional, everything, all good, all things happening in a straight line. India, we do not have that. So it's a bit chaotic when you see it in the first time. But if you actually see it properly, you are actually looking into some patterns over there, how people are trying to negotiate boundaries and then getting like that. So data is everywhere. I mean, you can pull data from any source and then try
To
to
that.
make a story out of it.
So that, thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us, and I'll definitely look up into this. So over to Richa, ma'am.
Tell us something about your experience with the Landmark Group.
Yeah, so Landmark Group, it was actually a Office 365 adoption. So they were moving from IBM Lotus Notes to Office 365. And they had around 12,000 employees to be trained on Office 365 adoption. Now we had some challenge. Let's say Landmark Group having their head office in Dubai, they have their centers across GCC, right?
Yes.
So, and they have multiple territories, multiple concepts, like we have Shoe Mart, we have Baby Shop, Splash, max. So how to tackle, how to spread this awareness through 12,000 employees, let's say. So what we did is we invited people from, I mean, all trainers from these places, from baby shops. So they have their internal trainers, right? So technical trainers, non-technical trainers. So they came to Dubai. We had a train the trainer session first. So I'll tell you what are the steps we took. Yeah, so we had a 2 days, 3 days train the trainer session. All over GCC people came, and we gave them a hand holding of how Office 365 works, how, let's say, what are the features of, at that time it was type, now.
It actually makes sense. T3 is always a good way to start so that everybody understands the motive and the objective, isn't it?
Absolutely. So, I mean, being a single person for 12,000 employees, it is not possible for me. So I was actually designing the entire program. I mean, how adoption should be happening, because at one end, transformation was happening, and another end, people should be made aware of.
And Landmark Group is very particular about the quality parameters,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I happened to be there in Singapore, so I was closely working for Landmark. So that is how I have this in mind. Any plans of visiting India and doing something here?
Yeah, so definitely, I right now to some extent got stuck in UAE. So I will be flying soon in July, hopefully.
Okay.
And we have great plans. I mean, whatever projects we are doing right now is all for India, right? So we have two projects. One is for the soft skills, which is launching in June itself, and another one has already, we have launched it for the schools. So where we are using artificial intelligence for generating question papers and helping teachers in this in this particular segment. Yeah.
Good. So what is the impact of lockdown there?
Lockdown here in UAE. I mean, we were in strict disciplines, definitely. National sanitization, all those programs were going on. So still now, 11 p.m. in the night till 6 a.m. in the morning. So we have curfew. And in other times, I mean, yeah, I mean, so things are becoming normal. So from, I think for past 2 days, people have start coming back to office, and malls are open.
Good to hear that. So I really hope that in future things should be fine, much better. And all of us need to contribute our bit to make this world a better place to live in, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. So thanks a lot for sparing your valuable time. And I'm very sure that whomsoever watches this video will enlightened and get enriched by your views. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Richa. Thanks, Shubham. Yeah. Thanks so much.